This is the Retirement Bullpen with Richard Warner. The team at Warner Financial Solutions want to help you feel confident about your retirement, no matter where you stand. Get more at warnerfinancialsolutions.com. Now, the Retirement Bullpen.
Welcome back here to the Retirement Bullpen with Richard Warner, retirement income certified professional at Warner Financial Solutions in the greater Omaha area in Nebraska, right there in America's breadbasket, right? He wants to help protect your bread, get you going in the right way. warnerfinancialsolutions.com. You like that, Richard? I'm Doug Turnbull, by the way, your co-host. Breadbasket, protecting your bread. We got something going here.
I don't know. That kind of struck me funny, Doug. It did, but it's good to be here. Thanks for having me.
Well, Nebraska is part of the breadbasket. Are we too much in corn territory? Is that
a lot of corn, not a lot of wheat?
Okay.
Used to be a little different. You go down into Kansas, the wheat gets a little bit more. But again, we're not farming experts here, so bread, corn, whatever.
It's all good. I like corn on the bread. Okay, yeah. I learned something as I've dug in more to Warner Financial Solutions and warnerfinancialsolutions.com. We love people to go schedule a meeting, subscribe to the newsletter, and hey, get past podcast episodes or subscribe to this and make sure people know about it too. If people in your life are going through it, maybe you've already got things figured out, Richard, and you're trying to tell the next person to hide it under a bushel. No, let that light shine. Get that word out there and tell them. But I learned something interesting that I haven't heard yet, Richard, which is you all will meet people where they're at. All right. Someone wants to know, what is this meeting like? Kind of run through how flexible you guys are.
So that is a little bit unique to us. People seem to like it. And so real quickly, if somebody's looking for initial consultation, they're just trying to figure out, even where they're at and get a starting point. Obviously, there's no cost or no obligation to that, but we are willing to come to your home. Some people really like that. Other people, they don't like it so much because they got to clean the house or something like that. So we don't want to make you uncomfortable, but it is something we do. I have a lot of clients that just prefer, hey, just come over to the house. We meet coffee shops. We meet in our office up in Omaha. I actually live in Auburn, Nebraska, which is about an hour south. We have an office down there. So, and kind of anywhere in between the Omaha, Lincoln, Southeast Nebraska area. So we are more than happy to come to people wherever it's most comfortable for them. And some people prefer a Zoom call setting or a phone call setting to get to know us and to figure out about their situation. So it's just all about the other individual being comfortable and getting an idea of what their situation looks like and if we can even be of help to them.
And I know that it's nice to have people come to the office for sure, and it sets an appointment. It has both parties make the effort to show up in a place there, but it's great that you can be flexible and go to their house or even jump on a phone call or virtual. But again, all of that, folks, is at warnerfinancialsolutions.com. Warner, spelled just like the Warner Brothers, WARNER, warnerfinancialsolutions.com. Last episode, we talked about planning for the unexpected in retirement. And now we're going to interface with some current events, Richard, because there are a lot of people, as I've talked to them, as I see social media, as I watch and listen and read the news, there are a lot of people that think what's coming up here in the latter part of 2024 with the election is something giant and unexpected. How do you, as a retirement income certified professional, help coach people through what are uncertain times and kind of maybe hopefully bring them back to earth?
Okay, so the first step is when we start working with somebody, we have a starting place. We have a process we take them through of helping them understand this is what their situation looks like. This is what we need to do to make it work. And then we put a plan together of how we're going to invest, safe versus risk, all that sort of thing. Okay. What happens though is stuff like elections happen. And some people have one political view. Some people have another political view. We're not going to get political with this podcast today. But the reality is neither of those politicians will have a huge impact of what happens to your 401k money, your investment money. And what people tend to do is they have a knee-jerk reaction to this happening or this might happen, and they want to pull everything out of the stock market or put everything here, put everything there, or whatever. I've heard all sorts of different things. The key is having a plan, a game plan early on when you start. How are you going to invest? How are you going to plan for no matter what happens? You've got to have safe money. You've got to have risk money. You've got to have a plan in place to weather and take advantage of both particular scenarios, so you don't have to have knee-jerk reactions in retirement.
Have you seen people come, maybe they're switching advisors, or maybe they've done a do-it-yourself, and they've had a certain plan in place where it's either too risk-averse or too risky, and you've helped move the needle?
Oh, for sure, for sure. And when you get closer to elections, you get that call. A lot of people, regardless of their political feelings, they are fearful that maybe I'm taking too much risk. Because if you listen to stats and this and that and this, you know, during an election year, this month is never good, or what have you. And they're afraid that's going to affect their retirement. A lot of those statistics are based on what has the Dow Jones done? What has the S&P 500 done? Okay, what has the NASDAQ done? Nobody should be invested just as the Dow Jones is. Nobody should be invested just as the S&P 500 is. And so if they have put a plan in place to diversify, to have some safe money, to have some risk money, they're going to be just fine through those situations.
And you help them get going in that right direction there. So I'm sure that as market conditions, financial conditions change, there are adjustments, small adjustments that could be made within these plans. So when people are calling up and meeting with you, at what point do you decide, hey, this has happened, we need to change the blend a little bit?
A lot of that's based on the client's comfortability. So we monitor trends in our investments. And what I mean by that is we look at where market trends are potentially going based on where they've been. And we use that to make decisions on how a particular investment strategy should be in that client's account based on their risk tolerance. But sometimes that risk tolerance can change. Sometimes election periods do make people a little bit more uncomfortable. Sometimes just getting a little older, getting closer to retirement makes people more uncomfortable. Maybe an expense they know is coming. Maybe they know next year they're going to spend $20,000 or $30,000 more than they normally do. They want to make sure their account's not down at that point. So that type of scenario would allow us then, well, let's just dial down your risk a little bit more then. It's going to create a little bit less of that volatility. And it's a simple change we can make to make you feel a little bit comfortable. Because at the end of the day, it's not about the returns. It's not about that sort of thing. It's about, can Mr. and Mrs. Smith sleep well at night? And do they have enough money? And if those two things are matching up, they're going to be just fine.
That's a great way to put it there. See, pocket passer, all right? We're not making big swings here. We're just making the right adjustments over time. And that's why it takes planning. You can't have an emotional reaction to something. Oh, I'm so distraught that this
Correct.
person won or lost. And then I want to move $6 million over here or something like that. It's making measured plans and, for the most part, sticking to the plan. I mean, you've been a coach over time, and particularly in baseball, I would imagine, and I know this is youth sports, so it's a little different than the pros. I would imagine there is some game planning involved in your years of helping coach boys baseball, right?
Oh, there's some game planning, but the emotion of the game, I think, is a bigger deal in youth sports. I mean, don't get me wrong. Those guys at the professional level are dealing with all sorts of emotions, but they are being paid to learn to handle that. These guys in 16, 17, 18-year-old young men are not getting paid. They're dealing with all sorts of things. They're still figuring that stuff out, right? The same principle of dealing with the emotions when you're hitting, when you're pitching, when you're fielding, whatever it is, applies to investment management. Our job is to help you as a coach take the emotion as best we can for you. Obviously, we can't be there every night holding your hand. And I'm being kind of silly here, but you get what I'm saying. We can't be there with you constantly to make you comfortable, but having that plan in place, having the strategy, taking your whole picture into consideration when creating the investment strategy helps, at least should help you manage the emotions, knowing that we're trying to keep this at a nice and steady, even keel. We don't want to get too high. We don't get too low. We want to keep this as level as possible. So you, again, you're not kept up at night thinking about or worrying about your money.
Right. Well, you can't. Hey, different people, different stress levels. Some people are going to worry no matter what.
Right.
Warner Financial Solutions says. Can't guarantee a good night's sleep, but we can tell you that small moves over time and trusting the plan is the better route to go, if anything, just to help keep you sane. All right, now another thing, the election's top of mind. That's the one, any day that ends in Y. We're until November something, and hopefully only till November something. We're thinking about that. And then inaugurations in January of 2025. But there's another aspect too, and this made big headlines in your sector specifically, Richard. The Federal Reserve made its first rate cut in years back on September the 18th. There's an opportunity twice before the end of 2024 where they can meet again and potentially even do that again. I think as the things I've read and talked to people, a lot of people expect that to happen. How does a cut in the interest rate change or not change someone's retirement strategy with Warner Financial Solutions?
It's not going to change much for what we're doing. It might create different opportunities. There might be more opportunities in the market because of an interest rate cut. There might be different opportunities in fixed accounts because of interest rate changes. The reality is your money is a long-term play, especially when you're talking about 401k pre-tax money. You're not planning for a day where we're just going to liquidate $500,000, $1 million, 100,000, whatever that number is for you, and spend it that day. It is a income generating tool for the rest of your life. You've heard the analogy of the golden goose, right? The goose lays the golden eggs. You go pick up their golden egg every single day. Well, you can't, once you pull all the eggs out of the goose. So like there's the joke the old farmer says, I'm going to whack that goose's head off and I'm going to get all those eggs out today. Well, it doesn't work that way. Once you pull all that money out, your income producing principle is gone, just like whacking the head off the goose. I'm going to be a little morbid here, but but what I'm getting at, my point here is that money needs to have that long-term approach where if the Fed interest rates change a little bit, that could be a good thing, could be a negative thing. But again, it's a short-term thing no matter what. Interest rates have changed a lot over the last 20 plus years.
Yeah. And that's how people need to be thinking, right? Is over not over a 5-year period or a 3-year period, or if we're talking elections, a 2 or a 4-year period, but over the length of your retirement or even beyond.
Where that short-term change is going to really affect you is if you're looking to refinance or if you're looking to get a short-term CD because you have a short-term savings project. But for the long-term planning of retirement income, it has little impact, but yet it does create that knee-jerk reaction at times, like, should I do this? Should I do that? And it makes people wonder, am I doing the right thing?
You've told me that a good many people have called to Warner Financial Solutions, not asking about the Federal Reserve interest rates, all right, but asking about the previous topic about the election or concerned about it. But before we wrap up here in this great episode of the Retirement Bullpen, what is the overarching thing, once again, that you could tell people as they're burning up the phones or going to warnerfinancialsolutions.com and inquiring about election and potential volatility?
Don't make knee-jerk reaction based on something you heard on the news, or even more, something you heard a commercial. They're trying to sell you something. That's a big one. You hear a commercial that they're pushing this and this and this topic in the news, and it drives people to do certain things at times that maybe they normally wouldn't do. Okay. It's all designed to try to get you to act to buy a product or make a change or do something. Keep that in mind because people want to take advantage of those situations. And I'm not saying they're necessarily being wrong about it, but they're trying to take advantage of those situations to build their business, if that makes sense. And so keep that in mind when those types of things are going on. Don't react. Think it through. Give us a call. We're happy to. We'd be happy to give you some input and some thoughts on how would that fit in your situation.
And schedule that meeting now. WarnerFinancialSolutions.com as Jim Morrison's saying, right? Keep your eyes on your road and hands upon the wheel. All right. Let's not make any, roll, baby, roll. We don't need to make any sudden reactions there. Richard, thank you so much for joining us today. Hey, we covered a little bit of coaching. We definitely talked about the election, the Federal Reserve cut, and we even talked into poultry preparation at one point too, although we're not going to tell you how to cook the goose. We really like you to keep the goose living. So there you go.
I don't know if we got to preparation, but we talked about We talked
the
about
first step
poultry,
of
though.
preparation, killing the goose. And we got bread and corn covered. We're getting ready for Thanksgiving. All right, not the election. Okay. Anyway, thank you so much, Richard, for joining us. And everybody, thank you for listening to the Retirement Bullpen once again. WarnerFinancialSolutions.com. Schedule the meeting, subscribe to the newsletter, and make sure people around you know about this and know about the podcast. Check our past episodes. Richard and our previous host, Jeff Miles, before, and myself, we've covered a lot already here, and we are ready to cover more. So thank you again for listening to the Retirement Bullpen, and we'll talk to you very soon.
Take care.
Insurance products are offered to the insurance business Warner Financial. Warner Financial is also an investment advisory practice that offers products and services through Impact Partnership Wealth, LLC, IPW, a registered investment advisor. IPW does not offer insurance products. The insurance products offered by Warner Financial are not subject to investment advisor requirements. NPN number 7617022. Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal. Any references to protection, safety, or lifetime income generally refer to fixed insurance products, never securities or investments. Insurance guarantees are backed by the financial strength and claims-paying abilities of the issuing carrier. This podcast is intended for informational purposes only. It is not intended to be used as the sole basis for financial decisions, nor should it be considered as advice designed to meet the particular needs of an individual situation. Warner Financial is not permitted to offer, and no statement made during this show shall constitute tax or legal advice. Our firm is not affiliated with or endorsed by the U.S. government or any governmental agency. The information and opinions contained herein provided by third parties have been obtained from sources believed to be reliable, but accuracy and completeness cannot be guaranteed by Warner Financial.